Hi there, I'm Dark Shades and I'm broadcasting out the east of England. Welcome to my channel. First time you're passing through, please subscribe. It does help keep me relevant. It does help me to know that I am relevant. And you can also share, you can also interact with my subscribers. Okay, this channel is really about relationships. It used to be about literally everything from Grenfell Tower to politics or whatever, but now I've shifted that to Black Bright News, which is my sister channel, and now I focus about aspects of relationships on this channel. It's called Dark Shades Counselling. It's not necessarily a counselling channel. I do offer counselling, virtual counselling, but this is not what my videos are about. They're just literally to inform. So, what we're talking about today, we're talking about sex again and how you should have it because it's good for you, not because you're in the mood. So many of us put off sex because we're not in the mood. Supposing we're never in the mood. So you have sex because it's good for you, because it helps lift up your pheromones, and because lots of things are happening when you're having sex. Now, that's not to say if you're having sex with somebody who doesn't satisfy you that you're going to have a great experience. Of course, this is talking about somebody who you would normally have gratifying sex with. You don't have to be in a lovey-dovey mood. You don't have to feel attracted to that person. Might sound a bit bizarre, but you're doing this for you. You're doing this because of what you get out of it. And if you get a good feeling out of it, that's why you do it. Okay? And so the two of you can benefit from it, from the experience. Now, where is this coming from? Well, I was reading something. Now, what was I reading? Oh, I think it was Flipboard. Yeah, and they were talking about the things, they were talking about love, and how you can fall in and out of love. And I remember doing a video the other day that said, if you fall out of love with your husband, you have to try and build it up and do all that kind of stuff. But actually, it's quite normal. According to this website, I can't remember what it is now. But anyway, according to the website, it's quite normal to fall out of love. It's quite normal not to want sex. It's quite normal that sex is no longer explosive. It's quite normal to have a headache, in quotes. It's all quite normal. So when you've been with your husband or your wife for several years, don't think that there's something wrong with you or the relationship just because you don't fancy the person, just because they don't turn you on when they touch you, that kind of stuff. That's what I'm getting at. Sometimes you have to orchestrate these kind of relationships. And, I remember watching Smile Orange, and he said, this was Horsemouth, in order to get on in this life, you have to learn to play a part. And that is the same with relationships. You act, there's another saying, you act it till you become it, or something like that. That's a bit like relationships. You're not always going to feel in that mode or in that, you're not always going to feel in love, and you're not always going to want sex, and you're always going to want to touch each other. But you kind of wing it. You act as though you do, and then somehow it becomes something that you do want to do, if that makes sense. Have you ever done a job that you don't like doing, and then after you've got into it, you're like, oh, it's not too bad after all? That's a bit like sex. You can have sex and you can think, oh, bloody hell, I'm not in the mood. I don't want it. I don't want it to touch me. Oh, he makes my skin crawl. You can do all of that. But if you think to yourself, okay, there has to have been a time when you enjoyed sex, otherwise you wouldn't be with that person. So things change, looks change, tink, all kind of thing. All of those things change. But the essence is there, the root is there. So it is about making a little bit of effort, but you're doing this for you. So you're feeling a bit horny. Instead of getting your vibrator out, or instead of masturbating in the bathroom, you get your husband or your wife washed up and nice looking and you know, thing and smelling fresh, put on some nice bed sheets, and you create that scenario. You don't want it. Bear that in mind. You don't have to necessarily want it, but you're doing this because it makes you feel good and you're remembering the times when sex felt good with you too. And so you can enjoy it again. It's not hard. It is about being quite calculating actually. But you're doing both of you a good service, especially if it's enjoyable. And you'll probably find that once you start it, it's actually quite good. You actually feel good after it. And do you know the more sex you have, the more healthier you are and the more healthier you feel, providing you're both healthy people, of course, and providing it's consensual sex, of course. But we're talking about people in long term relationships where it's gone a bit stale and you're kind of doubting your feelings. You don't have to doubt your feelings because, like I said, love comes and goes. You love them one minute, you don't the next. You want them to touch you one minute, you don't want them the next. And then you find one day you might look up at them and you think, oh, I really love him. And then at another day you can't, oh, I can't stand him near me. It's natural. You're two people, you've come from two different backgrounds, you're two different genders, two different cultures, maybe, two different religions, maybe, you know, different childhood experiences, different life experiences. You know, you're two totally, you're strangers. So you cannot expect to agree on everything. Now, you do have situations where people miraculously are compatible, so compatible, and they'll say, oh, I feel as I've known you all my life. And you just bounce off each other. That can happen, but it's very rare. So you can't kind of wait for that perfect compatibility to happen. You have to try and make it happen with what you've got. There has to have been an element of compatibility when you got into the relationship, unless you know you got married because of religious reasons or cultural reasons or whatever other reasons you got married. But if you got married at a point where you both thought you loved each other, you can reignite that. That's all I'm saying. So, sex is not a physical need. It does mean that you don't have to have sex. People can live years without sex. They might be tearing their hair out, but some people don't even want it. Some people say, oh, just the thought of it. That's this person. I know. Just the thought of sex. Oh, it makes my skin crawl. I can't have anybody touching me. Oh. Some people are just totally turned off from it. Don't know if they're turned off from it because they haven't met the right person, you know, whatever the reason. You can't say to that somebody, you can't say to that person, well, you have to try and pretend that you want it, or you can do it just because it makes you feel good and think about the feel good factor. That person is just no. They've already built up their barriers and their walls and they don't want it and they cannot be forced to have it. This is for people who are in doubt, who are not quite sure, who have had previously they've had a good sexual life and it's dwindled. This is what this is who this video is aimed at. It's not aimed at people who have not ever had that good sexual experience with their partner. So what? And they've reached a point now where they're like, oh, I've gone off them. I don't want it. I don't want them to touch me and all that kind of stuff. And they're looking at them and finding all kinds of fault with them. You know, that's not who I married. The man I married didn't look like that. I don't like the way he looks. He's put on weight. He's got a big belly. You know, his hair's falling out. And same way like the man, they find all kinds of fault with the woman. You know, her hair's thinning. She ain't got her front teeth. You know, she's put on weight. Her feet, you know, they're not as pretty as they were when she was younger. She's walking with a limp. She's had a hip replacement. She's not as active. And you can look at your people and you can say, yeah, things have changed. But it doesn't mean you can't do it. It doesn't mean that you two can't come to an agreement and have sex just for the sake of having it. Forget about all this lovey-dovey lark. Oh, I've got to be in love. Oh, I've got to feel this. Oh, I've got to feel that. Oh, he's got to make me body tingle. Oh, when I kiss him, I've got to feel butterflies. Forget all of that crap. You can create that if you want it, you know. And, they do have different types of responses because, it's no point they have this, let me not jump the gun here, but they have, well, let's first, you have to differentiate between lust, which is horniness, and spontaneous desire. Like I said, if you're feeling lustful, you're more likely to reach for the vibrator, or you masturbate if you haven't got a man in the house, right? Or you jump the bones of your partner if you do. Or spontaneous desire feels like urgency, but it's not. It's a temporary state of excitement. And that desire or that excitement will wane over a period of time. So don't expect passion to be consistent. It doesn't mean that you're not attracted to your partner. You may need to acquire responsive desire. That's the term I was looking for. Responsive desire is where your desire is ignited through a set of responses or a set of circumstances. So the right kind of kiss. That might be the response you need in order to get that desire ignited. But if you've got somebody's slobbery kiss where all the water leak down their malt, and you have some men that are trying to shove their tongue down your throat, or you have some that are trying to suck out your tongue until they're pulling the back of your neck. It's about responses. How do you actually feel when they kiss you? Is it a tender kiss? Does it make your body tingle? Because that's what's supposed to happen. The way a man kisses you, or vice versa, your body's supposed to tingle. You're supposed to feel something. If you don't, that kiss is not going to work. It's not going to create what you want it to create. So you've also got the touch. You can have some people who touch you tenderly, softly. Their hands stroke your skin and they just know how to make your body tingle. You get other men, they touch you like they're polishing their bloody car. That don't work. So you're not going to get the right response if you do not know how your woman responds. You've been with her long enough. You should know what turns her on and what doesn't. Especially if you're trying to create a sexual situation that neither of you really want, but you're doing it because it's good for you. Okay, the mood. Is it conducive to romance? Play some nice Otis Redding, Percy Sledge. You know what I mean? Even the taboo R. Kelly, sometimes that can get you into the mood. But you play the music that you like. Maybe it's Jim Reeves. Maybe it's Elvis Presley. Whoever it is, whoever rocks your boat, that's who you play. So you create that environment. The sheets on your bed are clean. Your room smells fresh. You've put all these superfluous items out of the way. You've minimalized the settings in the room. You've got a low light that just makes you look just right. You know what I mean? It doesn't show all your flaws and all your blemishes. They have some lights like that, You have some lights that really exaggerate your flaws and your blemishes, and you have some lights that make you look beautiful. Invest in one of those lights. And also make love even if you don't fancy it. Desire should follow if the circumstances are right. And you may find that sometimes you might have experienced it yourself. You don't really feel it. You feel for it, and that when it starts, you're just like, it's not too bad after all. I'm quite enjoying this. Don't wait for passion to come. Become passion. You can ignite passion. Okay, choose to enjoy sex because it's good for you, not because you want it. And make an effort to have sex regularly. because you can get into a habit of not having sex regularly, and then it becomes the norm, and then you hardly have it. And sex, like I said, sex is good for you. It is healthy with two healthy people, who have the capacity, and it's just not stubbornness or some kind of little silly petty problem why they don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Some people say, "Oh, I don't feel well. I've got a slight headache." What has that got to do with certain parts of your body? You know what I mean? I cut my finger. I've got a cold. You can still be sexy even with a cold. You can still want sex even though you've got a headache. You can. All I'm saying is, make sure you're not making excuses. And where you can create an amorous lifestyle and an amorous relationship, try to do that, because you'll find that you can grow back in love with the person you thought you'd grown out of love with. And that's all for now, really. Bye bye.